What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, and today this is my top 10 list of my favorite Jeff Beck songs. Recently did the albums. And sort of as a disclaimer, I only knew or had listened to six Jeff Beck albums prior to his passing away earlier this month, or in January of 2023, about two and a half, little over 2 weeks ago, he passed away. And I've been listening to a lot of Jeff Beck since then because it was a big blank spot in my music knowledge, and I wanted to fix that. I knew Blow by Blow, I knew Wired, I knew Beckola, I knew Flash, which is why we have a number of Blow by Blow, Wired, and Beckola songs on here. I had heard Truth before in college, so I thought it was an early Rod Stewart album. And Flash, I never ever listened to. And so the rest of them I'm pretty much hearing for the first time, though I was familiar with a handful of songs just because of the radio and life. So a grain of salt. These are the things that in my first 2.5 weeks have really jumped out to me if they're not on one of those albums, or things I've always liked. And I'm just now giving their due props. Everything I do on this channel somehow falls under Frank Zappa's a big note umbrella. Beck gets mentioned in a bunch of Frank songs. He played on the GTO's album Permanent Damage. Kali Yuda was in his band. Bosio was in his band. There's a lot of... And Zappa thought highly of Beck as a guitar player. I think I've read interviews where he specifically mentions either Blow by Blow or Wired. One of those two sort of jazz fusion albums from the mid-'70s. So Frank had a high opinion of Jeff Beck. But anyways, I'm just going to go through my songs, and at the end of the video, I will put them up in a list for you visual learners. So yeah, that's it. So, and then you tell me your favorite or which ones I should check out again and all that kind of stuff. Or tell me why I'm wrong. I know I always say that, and then I'm always surprised at how hard people come at me that I'm wrong. Like, how could you ever, right? But yeah, I will just convince me. Don't berate me. I'm open to a smooth, suave debate. Someone who's willing to use their words to convince me otherwise. Not somebody who's going to insult me. That's just silly, people. But anyways, yeah, that's a rant. Sorry. It's a long day at school today, people. Still, there's snot everywhere because allergies are crazy. But anyways, on to number 10. Number 10, the leadoff song to the Jeff Beck Group, his fourth album, essentially, his second album of the second Jeff Beck Group. This is the leadoff track. Love the drum intro. There's a really good Max Middleton piano presence, especially in the latter half. Kind of gets a little loose, gets a little jammy. Nice little riff that kind of runs through this whole thing. I think in a lot of these songs, like any song you listen to from Jeff Beck, you're pretty much guaranteed to have really, really good guitar playing. Like I don't think he ever drops the ball on that front. The things that make these songs make this list are like either just a different kind of groove or some kind of overall feel apart from Beck. And I really like the drum intro in this. Just, I think, sets up the entire album really well. So I'm giving it props for, its placement on the album and like how it leads off the album. And plus just the sort of electric piano or keyboard, whatever he's using, that presence throughout the song, I think really gives this song a good feel. And I've listened to this album a number of times just because I want to listen to Ice Cream Cakes, and then we're just off and running after there. So yeah, number 10. Number 9 is El Becco off of There and Back, which was essentially his third. There and Back, is that what it's called? There and Back? Why does that seem weird? I think that's what it's called. Which is essentially his third of his sort of jazzy albums from the mid-'70s. This one came out in 80, so you have Blow by Blow, Wired, then this. This just feels like a really fun song. It almost seems like it's a theme song for like a 70s show, like not a half-hour sitcom, but a longer hour show, so you get a longer theme song. And like the beginning, like 30 seconds or so is like a montage of like a city or something like London, and then like these doors open and like 30 seconds in, and Jeff Beck comes out, and the music's all, woo, Jeff Beck's here, and it's like a theme song as we see him playing guitar and meeting with people, and it just really has this really, I don't know, happy, contagious, somewhat infectious, kind of upbeat vibe that I don't know, it's kind of playful, it's kind of nice, it just really, I don't know, it endears itself to me very well. But I think it's just one of the, I don't want to use the word poppy, but it's a bright, upbeat kind of just, I don't know, infectious little song with just some really nice playing on it. Number 9, El Becco. Number 8 is Shapes of Things, the debut song off his first album, Truth. This is a cover of the Yardbird song, kind of reworked really well. I love the kind of different vamp that they bring it. And as soon as Rod Stewart starts singing it, I'm sorry, that's it. This version wins. Rod Stewart kills it. Loves it. Love his vocal delivery. There's kind of a looseness to the end of the jam in which things get a little jam bandy and a little bit stretched out and loose. It's pretty much them giving it like an English blues rock treatment, a little more so than the Yardbirds. A little bit, I guess, heavier and just fuller and just a little more just like, I don't know, big rock stage type energy. But I think it's a fantastic sort of reworking of this song. Another example of a song kicking off an album incredibly well. An album that I'm hit and miss on. But this being the opening track, I will probably listen to this album more than I would otherwise if this wasn't the opening track. Number 8, Shapes of Things. Number 7, Hypnotica off Who Else. I think I originally said this had like a techno electronic feel. I think it's all actual instruments. But it's just really, I think the drummer and the bass player are literally playing the exact same rhythm for the exact same little phrase for the entirety of the entire song. I don't think at any point it deviates from this same rhythm. But as the title suggests, and I'll give props to Beck, his titles are usually dead on. There's a very hypnotic vibe to it. And it has this comfortable, it reminds me of like a Moe jam, the band Moe, period, M-O-E, right? Or is it M-O-E period? Probably M-O-E period makes more sense. Moe, it's like one of their jams, like between songs, where they just kind of get into this like just groove, and maybe it doesn't really go anywhere for like 3 or 4 minutes, but it is so just infectious and hypnotic, and you just want to it's almost like you want to just nod off and just like fall asleep to it, but it's entertaining enough to like not make you fall asleep. I don't know if there's really an actual like solo in here as much as Beck is just like throwing off licks throughout this entire thing. Whoever the other guitar player is on here, I don't think it's Jennifer Botten at this point, right? But whoever the other guitar player is on here is doing some really nice work on here too, that Beck and this person are kind of going, yeah, it is Jennifer Batten. Batten, B-A-T-T-E-N. It sounds like they're kind of going back and forth a little bit. Just has a really good, hypnotic, kind of chill vibe, kind of drops in like the first part of the latter third of the album, and it sets off the sort of final sequencing really well. So its placement works, just got a really good, I don't know, just kind of chill vibe. A lot of these songs, once we get higher on the list, there's a couple more that kind of have a chill vibe, and I think I really like the chill vibes that Beck brings. Number 6, Freeway Jam. I knew this song. This was the reason I originally bought Blow by Blow. When you grow up in Los Angeles and rock radio in the 70s can play whatever they want, DJs literally are pulling albums off the shelves and playing any deep track they want. We heard Freeway Jam a lot on KMET in LA because we have freeways in Los Angeles and they always have traffic jams. And none of them are as interesting or as exciting or as inspirational as this one. But I heard this song a lot. Yeah, it's off Blow by Blow. Just a really good little melody, a really good jam number, really good. Just everything about this song just feels good. It's kind of a little more upbeat than some of the other stuff is on here, but it's not very aggressive. It's just got a really good groove, really good sort of the melodic theme. The theme that sort of is like the main melody is really good. Kind of takes a while to get there, which is nice. It's almost like we're pulling, like in California. Here in Texas, you have frontage roads, so you drive along a frontage road and then you get on the freeway. California, you almost turn onto a freeway from like a traffic light, right? So you're like at a dead stop and then you come onto the on-ramp. Then usually there's a traffic light on the on-ramp and it's almost like you're at that stop, you pull onto the on-ramp, you're sitting at that traffic light, and then the main theme comes and you're like, off on the freeway and off we go. We're now trying to hopefully reach a speed limit, not just sit in traffic. But this was probably inspired by like midnight which still has traffic these days, but back then probably didn't. But I don't know. Really like this song. It's one that I think the Beck song I've known the longest. And I still really like it. Number 5, second track off Beckola, Spanish Boots. It's another really good jammy song. Rod Stewart on vocals. Can't go wrong with Rod Stewart. Just really good sort of late 60s blues rock. Just awesome song. Good little jam, good lyrics, good vocal performance, good guitar playing. Everything about this works. Bass playing sounds good. Nicky Hopkins is on guitar, Ron Wood on bass. Just an all-around kick butt of a song. Off a fantastic, fantastic album. Number 4, Dirty Mind off You Had It Coming, right? Is that what that's called? You Had It Coming. This is one I've only been listening to for about 2 weeks now. Yeah, You Had It Coming. And this is just, it's a techno song. He was leaning into like a techno electronica vibe here, but it starts off with this really like kind of jagged guitar riff that reminds me of something else that I can never ever put my finger on. I want to say it's like a Roger Waters song, maybe it reminds me of, but that's not right. But it's got this type vibe. Oh, like maybe like a Primus song. Maybe it reminds me of like the Pressman or the Heckler or one of those Frizzle Fry songs. But it's got this really neat kind of jagged opening. And then once like with a lot of just like back, like kind of throwing off licks and stuff. And then the techno drums drop in and it just kind of goes from there. We have a little breakdown in the middle where that guitar just comes back. It's an instrumental. I think there's a little bit of like mumbling or talking in the background, like somebody yelling something, like, oh, get it, or something like that. But it's just got a really infectious groove, kind of really standout guitar part. This is on an album that's heavy on techno, heavy on electronica, and sometimes Jeff gets lost in that. You can't even tell what's guitar and what's machine and what's a drum, but like to his credit, that's the vibe of the album. But this one, that guitar is clear and center. It's got a really good vibe about it. Dirty Mind is a good old title for it. It kind of feels like a dirty little song, third song in the album. But yeah, just a fantastic song. Number 3 is his cover of her Bogart, Beck, Bogart, and a Pieces from that album, their cover of Superstition. Apparently he co-wrote, Stevie Wonder has the songwriting credit, I think, on the actual album, but Beck came up with the drum intro, which might be one of the best drum intros in the history of rock. No, it's not, because of When the Levee Breaks. Also, Peaches and Regalia. Also, there's a lot of really good drum intros. That might be a video someday. But anyways, but apparently Beck came up with that drum intro and was like, hey man, what about this beat? And Stevie's like, yeah, keep playing that. And then Stevie sat down on the piano and was like, bum, 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 and just played, like apparently improvised the song on the spot, came up with the lyrics, came up with all of it. But Beck was the inspiration apparently for that particular drum beat. And apparently the deal was Wonder gave him the song to release first because Wonder's album wasn't going to be ready, but because of like contract stuff, maybe because Bogart and a Piece might have been on, who knows, for whatever reason, they were coming from different bands. The Beck Bogart a Piece album was delayed, so Stevie's came out first. This came out second. But this is a really good, weird blues, rocky, funky reworking of the Stevie Wonder Superstition track, which might be one of the greatest funk tracks of all time. Really good song, really good jam, really good playing. I mean, you know the song. Everybody knows Superstition, right? You all know that song. This is a good interpretation of it. It is you recognize the song, but at the same time, they're taking it someplace a little bit different. And Jeff Beck is clearly making it his own. And, with Bogart and a Piece's help. Just a really excellent song and excellent performance of an excellent song. Easily the highlight on what I wish was a much better album. And number 1 and number 2 are just, I think, what Beck does better than anything else. Number 2 is Goodbye Pork Pie Hat off Wired, the Mingus cover. Again, one of his slower, more emotional, more emotive. There's a little more feeling in this. It just feels a little more like, I don't know. I like this side of Beck. I like this sort of just like, feeling stuff and taking his time with the notes and really just getting every single ounce of emotion out of every little note bend or, everything he does. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those very emotionally evocative songs. Great choice of covers, obviously. But yeah, this to me is also the highlight easily of that album, an album that I'm not as big a fan of as most people, but without a doubt, this song makes that album worthwhile. And then easily my favorite, I think this one is easily my favorite Beck song, "Cause We Ended as Lovers," off Blow by Blow. It is one of those songs that if someone were to sit down and play you the song, you had never heard it before, and ask you to describe the feelings you had, I would imagine most people would like, oh, it's very emotional, kind of maybe sounds sad, maybe it's a eulogy for someone. There's a bitter, kind of a slightly bittersweet quality with a lot more bitter, but there's a little bit of sweetness in it, just a little bit of like, I don't know, happy acceptance of some sort, but it definitely it's a instrumental song that makes you feel. It was written by Stevie Wonder. But if you were to listen to it, you would definitely have these emotions. And then someone's like, oh, cool. The name of the song happens to be "'Cause We've Ended as Lovers." And that to me is like, oh, damn, that's devastating. Because then you go back and listen to it and you realize that it's the viewpoint of somebody who's like reflecting on a relationship that ended. And it's like, "'Cause we've ended as lovers." There's something just so, I don't know, emotionally devastating about that. And I think Beck does an absolutely amazing job of taking the title and whatever, Stevie Wonder gave him as far as like what the actual melody looks like and what the actual song looks like, and making it his own and making it just this incredibly powerful thing that I think is one of the best testaments of the power of Jeff Beck's guitar playing. This song especially, just an absolutely just mind-blowing instrumental, powerful, doesn't need words. Everything he's feeling and thinking in this. That's how good this is. But yeah, those are them right there. That's the 10. Currently, after listening to Jeff Beck, all of his albums for about, what is it? He passed away, rest in peace, on January 10th. Today is like the 27th, 28th, 27th. So what? Just over 2.5 weeks, just under 2.5 weeks is as long as I've been listening to these. So who knows? Some of these may change. I may add some things. Definitely am not touching probably those top 5, probably those top 6, maybe those top 7. Probably, you know what? I'm probably not changing any of these. Who knows? Maybe I'll back go and ice cream cakes. There could be room for somebody else. But right now, this is my list. But anyways, thanks for watching. Tell me what songs I should check out that I obviously have slept on. Just so you know, watch the album video, because I clearly have opinions on some of the songs I do not like or I do not enjoy, or I other songs, other versions of the same song have completely eclipsed these in my soul, in my mind, certain songs. So before you recommend those, you might want to check that out. But if not, you don't have to. I don't care, right? I do care, but whatever. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, like. Let me know your 10 favorite songs. Let me know what I should check out. All that other stuff. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace. Talk to you later.